Shalom, Shana Tova, and Gamar Chatima Tova. My name is Isaac Brynjegard-Bialik, and I'm pleased to be joining you, Congregation Emmanuel, this Yom Kippur from my studio here in Los Angeles. I'm a Jewish artist working in the traditional Jewish medium of paper cutting, using another traditional Jewish medium, comic books, to create what I call paper Midrash. Visual commentary on Jewish texts. Midrash analyzes a text, such as a passage from the Torah, by using another bit of text, for instance, something from Haftarah or Psalms or what have you, to explore and explain it. I do the same thing, but my secondary text is comic books and printed ephemera. The work you're seeing here on the screen is part of an exploration of the Tefillah service made with cut-up comic books. Today I want to share with you one of my paper cuts called Visions of Johanna, a commentary on the story of Jonah through the lens of the music of Bob Dylan. Jonah, of course, is one of the texts we usually read on Yom Kippur. Dylan, on the other hand, is a Jewish poet and songwriter whose work doesn't often get heard during the high holidays. Jonah is a reluctant prophet, the most successful of our prophets, perhaps. He says 5 words, and 120,000 people immediately repent, but reluctant nonetheless. In the book of Jonah, chapter 1, verses 1 through 3, we read that God tells Jonah to go to the city of Nineveh to proclaim judgment on it, to tell the people that they have acted wickedly and must repent. Jonah immediately heads in the opposite direction. He avoids his responsibility at every turn, fleeing by land and boat, even contemplating suicide, before eventually, reluctantly, accepting the role of prophet. The people of Nineveh repent, God forgives them, and Jonah heads off to sulk in solitude. Bob Dylan, too, is a bit of a reluctant prophet. His words provoked and inspired, invited people to listen for answers in the wind, to contemplate a life without direction, to imagine the world as it could be. But in his 1963 song, Long Time Gone, he sings, "I know I ain't no prophet, and I ain't no prophet's son." His voice was the voice of a generation, though he shied from the spotlight and from that role. And yet, he reluctantly accepted that his visions could serve as a guide to his generation. Jonah's story, as we well know, includes time spent in the belly of a big fish. He saved the fish from its destined death by the Leviathan, and Midrash tells us that in return, the fish took him on a journey through time and space, showing him the origin of the oceans, the path of the Israelites through the Red Sea, the beginning of waves, the pillars of the earth, and much more. Jonah's journey is represented in this paper cut through salvaged papers, photographs, and textures, including pieces of the Bob Dylan scrapbook, and images representing lyrics from Dylan's 1966 song, Visions of Johanna. A handful of rain, the ghost of electricity, small talk at the wall, infinity up on trial, jewels and binoculars, the Nightingale's Code, whispering and muttering, as well as fragments from the Book of Jonah from a volume of Tanakh originally destined for ritual burial in the Geniza. It is a raucous, wild double portrait of Jonah and of Dylan. We can almost see through Jonah's eyes as he sees these visions. We can hear him denying his role as prophet with Dylan's words, "It ain't me, babe." We hear the ship captain asking Jonah, "How can you sleep so soundly while a storm rages?" And we imagine we hear Dylan asking, "How does it feel to be without a home?" Like a complete unknown. Like Jonah, we have a role to play in the world. It might be one that we have chosen, or one that has been assigned to us, or one that we have stumbled into. And perhaps it's one we don't feel comfortable with. At Yom Kippur, we look at the year that has passed and the year to come, and we consider, how can we be better versions of ourselves, accepting responsibility to ourselves and others, heeding the words of the divine, and finding our way into the belly of the big fish and back out again onto dry land. Let us take the journey, see the visions, define and accept and create our place in the world, and may we all be sealed in the book of life.